I've been hiking and camping all my life. But what happened to me last summer in New Mexico still fucks with my head. I'm not talking about some ghost story or supernatural BS. This shit was real, and it still gives me nightmares. I'd planned this solo camping trip for months. Being from Texas, I wanted to explore the more remote parts of New Mexico, specifically the Carson National Forest area. I'd read about the trails there, and yeah, I knew about the wildlife, bears, mountain lions, and plenty of coyotes. But I'm experienced, you know? I've got my gear, my permits, and most importantly, my trusty .357 Magnum. Better safe than sorry, right? The first couple of days were exactly what I needed. Just me, nature, and absolute fucking peace. The weather was perfect for late June. Warm days, cool nights. I'd set up my camp in this beautiful spot, about 15 miles from the nearest proper road. There was this small clearing surrounded by thick pine trees, with a perfect spot for my tent and a fire pit that previous campers had left behind. I remember thinking how goddamn perfect everything was. Funny how fast things can go from perfect to completely fucked up. So there I was, sitting by my campfire on the third night, cooking some freeze-dried pasta. Yeah, I know, gourmet shit. The sun was setting, and that's when I first heard it. A coyote howling. Now, I've heard coyotes plenty of times before, but something about this one was different. It was just one voice, which isn't normal. Coyotes usually yip and howl in groups. That's like their whole thing. But this was just one, and it sounded wrong somehow. Like someone trying to imitate a coyote, but not quite getting it right. I tried to shake off that weird feeling. I mean, I'm a grown-ass man, not some kid afraid of the dark. But I kept hearing it, getting closer and closer. The howls were becoming more distinct, and yeah, definitely just one animal. I started getting this sick feeling in my stomach, you know? That primal instinct shit that tells you something isn't right. Around midnight, that's when things got real intense. I was trying to sleep in my tent when I heard footsteps. Not light animal footsteps, but heavy ones, like something was deliberately walking around my campsite. My heart was fucking pounding, but I tried to stay rational. I grabbed my .357, which was loaded with snake shot. It's like a mini shotgun shell, good for rattlers or, you know, whatever else might need discouraging. The footsteps got closer, and I could hear something rustling through my food bag that I'd hung up in a tree. Basic camping 101, right? That pissed me off enough to give me some courage. I unzipped my tent just enough to stick the gun out and fired a warning shot into the ground. Whatever it was, it ran off. But the way it ran, it didn't sound like a four-legged animal. It sounded like two legs, running upright. I didn't sleep much after that, obviously. Every time I'd start drifting off, those footsteps would come back. They'd circle my tent, sometimes getting so close I could hear breathing. Not animal breathing, human breathing. But who the fuck would be out here in the middle of nowhere, stalking my campsite at night? Around 3 a.m., it got really bad. The footsteps were right outside my tent, and I could see a shadow through the fabric. A standing shadow, tall, human-shaped. I lay there, gun pointed at the tent wall, barely breathing for what felt like hours. The shadow just stood there, swaying slightly, like it was deciding what to do. I don't know if it was courage or stupidity. But I called out, "I've got a gun and I will shoot." My voice cracked like a teenager's, but the shadow moved away. The footsteps retreated, and then that fake coyote howl started again. But this time, it sounded more like laughter. The morning after. When the sun finally came up, I was still alive, but completely fucking terrified. I waited until it was fully light before unzipping my tent. What I saw outside, Jesus Christ. There were footprints everywhere, human footprints. Bare feet, but huge, way bigger than normal. They circled my tent, went to my food bag, wandered all through my campsite. But here's the thing that still haunts me. Some of the prints were so deep in the dirt, it was like whatever made them weighed hundreds of pounds. I also found my food bag torn to shreds, but not like an animal would do it. It was methodically ripped apart, like someone used their hands to tear it. And scratched into the tree where I'd hung it was, well, I don't even want to describe it. Let's just say it wasn't random claw marks. I packed my shit up faster than I've ever packed in my life. The whole time, I kept looking over my shoulder, scanning the trees. It took me 4 hours to hike back to my car, and I swear I could hear that fake coyote howl following me the whole way. I reported it to the ranger station, but they just said it was probably a bear, maybe a mountain lion. But I know what I saw. Those were human footprints. Something was out there pretending to be a coyote, walking on 2 legs, stalking me all night. I still go camping, but never alone, and never in New Mexico. Some people have suggested it might have been a skinwalker or some other Native American legend. But I don't buy into that supernatural stuff. Whatever it was real, physical, and fucking terrifying. It was just another hot-as-balls day driving through Nevada. I was headed to see my mom in Reno. She'd been nagging me to visit for weeks. The desert stretched endlessly, and I hadn't seen another car for at least an hour. My AC was struggling, and I was already regretting taking this shortcut through the back roads. Sure, Google Maps said it'd save me 45 minutes, but something about these empty roads made me uneasy. Around 2 p.m., I noticed something breaking up the monotony of the desert landscape. A beat-up white Ford F-150 was parked right in the middle of the road, hood up, with some dude bent over the engine. Great, I thought. Just what I needed. A delay. I pulled over, thinking about all those times my mom told me to help others, 'cause karma's a thing. The guy looked normal enough, maybe in his 40s, wearing dirty jeans and a faded t-shirt. He explained his battery was dead and needed a jump. Simple enough, right? While I was getting my jumper cables out, my phone rang. It was Mom, checking up on me like always. "Hey, I'm helping some guy with his truck," I told her. That's when her voice changed. "Baby, please be careful. There's been some weird shit happening on those desert roads. Some real sketchy people out there." Mom's words hit different. Suddenly, I noticed things I hadn't before. The truck's license plate was caked in mud, completely unreadable. The broken down spot was perfect for trouble. No cell service, no witnesses, nothing but desert for miles. The guy kept trying to start his truck, but something was off. Each time he turned the key, he'd stare straight at me through the windshield. Not glancing, not checking. Fucking staring. His eyes were cold, empty, like a shark's eyes, you know? And his truck. The engine sound wasn't right for a dead battery. It was turning over just fine, then dying. My hands started sweating, and not from the heat. I reached for my phone to call for help. No bars, just like I feared. The guy was still in his truck, still staring, still turning that key. Click, turn, die, click, turn, die. Each time those eyes locked on mine, then I noticed something that made my blood run cold. Through the truck's back window, I could see rope and what looked like duct tape on the back seat. Maybe there was an innocent explanation, but my gut was screaming at me to get the fuck out of there. Without saying a word, I walked to my car, got in, and floored it. In my rearview mirror, I saw him jump out of his truck, but I was already doing 80. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I made it to a gas station about 15 miles down the road. The old guy behind the counter looked concerned when I burst in. probably white as a sheet. I told him about the guy with the broken down truck, partly because I felt guilty for leaving someone stranded, and partly because if this dude was really dangerous, someone should know. The clerk's face went serious. "You did the right thing, son," he said, picking up his phone. "That stretch of road. We've had 3 disappearances in the past year. Police can't prove anything." I sat in that gas station for an hour while the clerk called the cops. They sent a patrol car but found nothing. The truck was gone. Sometimes I think about what might have happened if I'd stayed longer. Mom's warning probably saved my life that day. Now I stick to the main highways, keep my tank full, and don't stop for anyone. Call me paranoid, but after that day, I realized sometimes being a bad Samaritan means staying alive. And yeah, I never told my mom the whole story. She'd never let me drive alone again. I never thought I'd be sharing this fucking crazy story. But here I am. My name's Mike, and my wife Sarah had been binge-watching these camping YouTubers for months. You know the type. All peaceful sunsets and cozy campfires. After watching like 100 videos, we thought, hey, we can do this too. We weren't exactly outdoor people, but the videos made it look so damn easy. We spent 2 weeks getting all the gear together. Sarah was so excited, planning everything down to the last detail. We chose this spot in the Mojave Desert, about 4 hours from Vegas. The place looked perfect on Google Maps. Isolated, peaceful, just like in those YouTube videos we'd been watching. We arrived around 4 p.m. on a Friday. The desert was beautiful, I'll give it that. The sun was setting, painting everything in orange and purple. We set up our tent, made some dinner on our fancy new camping stove, and sat watching the stars come out. Sarah couldn't stop taking pictures for her Instagram. Around 11 p.m., things started getting weird. First, it was this sound, not quite a howl, not quite a scream. Sarah grabbed my arm so tight it left marks. "Mike, what the actual fuck was that?" she whispered. I played it cool, said it was probably just the wind or some coyotes. But deep down, something felt off. The footsteps started around midnight. They weren't normal footsteps either. They were slow, deliberate, circling our tent. Sarah was shaking and I was trying to keep my shit together. We had my Glock 19. Thank God I brought it. But I didn't want to make any sudden moves. Then everything went dead silent. Like unnaturally silent. No crickets, no wind, nothing. Thud. Something heavy hit the ground near our tent. It sounded like someone dropped a boulder, but that didn't make any sense. Who the fuck would be out here throwing rocks? I knew I had to check it out. With shaking hands, I grabbed my gun and flashlight. "Stay here," I told. I swept the flashlight around. Nothing. No footprints, no rocks, no explanation for that sound. Just empty desert in every direction. We stayed awake for hours after that. Sarah finally fell asleep around 3 a.m., exhausted from fear. I tried to stay alert, but eventually my eyes got heavy. Big fucking mistake. The heat woke us up. At first, I thought it was just the morning sun, but then I smelled smoke. The tent was on fire. "Sarah, get up now!" We scrambled out, grabbing what we could. The whole right side of our tent was engulfed in flames. We threw sand on it like crazy, finally getting it under control. I didn't wait around to pack up properly. We threw everything in the car and got the hell out of there. I was driving so fast across the desert, hit this big rock, and the car went airborne for a second. Sarah was screaming, thinking we were gonna die. We reported it to the police once we got cell service. They sent rangers out to investigate, but found nothing. No tracks, no evidence of anyone being there. The rangers said maybe it was our campfire. But here's the thing, we never lit one. We used a camping stove for dinner and went straight to bed. It's been 6 months since that night. We sold all our camping gear on Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes I still wake up hearing those footsteps, wondering what the fuck was out there in the desert. Maybe it was some sick person who gets off on terrorizing campers. Maybe it was something else. All I know is we're never camping again, ever. They can keep their YouTube adventures. I'll stick to watching Netflix from my couch, where nothing tries to burn me alive in my sleep.